Hi, Andreas from Toddle here. Google recently held their annual Google I/O conference where they show some of the technology they've been working on for the past year. And one thing that really caught our eye here at the Toddle team was the work they've been doing on speculative rendering. Now, to understand what that is, we need to talk a little bit about how browsers work. So when you go and visit a website in the browser, actually there's quite a lot of things going on to make that happen. So the browser will initially send a message to a server somewhere based on the domain or the URL you put in. That server is then going to probably most likely fetch some data from either a database or content management system and use that to go and render that page. The page is then returned to the browser, and the browser will then start fetching additional resources such as images, CSS, and JavaScript before it finally can render the final result of that page. Now, browsers have gotten really, really fast at doing this. So actually, today you can render a site with a fair amount of content in less than a second if that site is built really well. And we're now starting to reach some limits that you probably didn't expect would be an issue. One of those is that the speed of light is not actually fast enough. So when we're sending that signal out, that message out to a server, that server could be hundreds, if not thousands of miles away. And we don't need to make just one request. We actually need to make multiple requests to get to that server and back again. And so when we're pinging this signal back and forth between the browser or our mobile device, even worse so, and that server, we're getting to a point where the actual speed of light or this signal moving through fiber optic cables starts to become a limiting factor for how fast our web applications can be. And that means to get to that truly instant feeling of using a web app is actually really, really difficult, if not impossible. So what speculative rendering is about having the browser try and predict what the next page it needs to load is, and then actually start to pre-render it before you even click the link. And I want to show you how that works. So right here, I've got the Toddle website, and obviously we've got a ton of links on this. And we've already implemented speculative pre-rendering, speculative rendering on this on our page. So I want you to pay attention to what happened when I click the pricing links. You can see a little bit of a ring around my mouse when that happens. So you'll notice you may have actually missed the ring simply because you can see it now. It is there, right? But simply because the rest of the page updated instantly. And the reason for that was by the time I clicked the link, Toddle had already fetched that whole page and rendered it. So it had it ready, Chrome had already fetched that whole page and rendered. So it had it ready to show the second I did that click. And so this basically means that instead of having to wait for the full duration, I can actually start that request. It can actually start fetching those pages and rendering them slightly before I, as a user, make the click. Now, I want to show you a little bit of a side-by-side comparison. You can see here that we've got the two examples of the same page being loaded with and without pre-rendering. And you can clearly see that the pre-rendering is much, much faster. Now, the normal page load is actually pretty good. It's not slow at all. It's slightly over a second, which is a really, really decent load time. But it's just night and day difference between with and without pre-rendering in this case. So Toddle already supports pre-rendering. So I want to show you how you can use it in your Toddle app. Right here, I've got a one of our pages. This is the agency page where we list all our agency partners. And right here, we've got a list of links, like each partner, we sort of link to all their specific own pages here, right? And so when I select a link here, a link element in Toddle, on the right in the attribute panel, you'll see this new attribute pre-render. Now, for all existing links, for anything people have already put in the existing Toddle apps, this is going to be set to none. But starting from today, the default for new links added to a Toddle site is actually going to be moderate. So by default, we turn this on because we think it's a really, really good feature. And you can see the option here are none, which means it obviously doesn't do any pre-rendering, moderate, and eager. Now with moderate, what it actually does is that when you've hovered, like with the mouse, a link for a minimum of 200 milliseconds, or you press the mouse button down, Chrome is going to start pre-rendering this site. And this doesn't seem like a very much time, and it really isn't, but it's just enough to give you that instant of this interaction. Like by the time you let go of the mouse button, it got enough of a head start that it actually feels instant to view the page. Now it still requires really good page loads. It still requires good server response time and all these things that you need to make a fast website. But it just gives you that extra 100 or 200 milliseconds head start, so your interactions really does feel like they're instant, right? The eager strategy here is also available. Be very sparing with that. It basically means that as soon as Chrome detects a link with eager pre-rendering on it, it's going to start doing that immediately. And sometimes that's what you want, but you certainly don't want to overdo it. I recommend only having one on every page. I actually think Chrome has a maximum of 2 that they're allowed to do eager pre-rendering on, because it takes up a lot of bandwidth, right? It's a lot of extra work the browser has to do. If you're on a mobile device, it's extra battery it's going to spend doing that. So we don't want to use eager unless we're really very sure that that is the next link someone's going to click, right? This is live today. You can play around with preloading and pre-rendering in Toddle today. Any new link or any existing links you have, you can go and set the pre-render strategy on. I'm going to link, if you want to learn more about speculative loading or speculative pre-rendering, I'm going to link an article by the Chrome team in the description. If you haven't tried Toddle yet, go and give it a try. Go and build some really fast, really snappy websites and web apps, and make sure to tell us all about it. Thank you very much.